This recording is part 1 of 2 on writing college and career-ready, culturally responsive IEPs. College and career-ready IEPs are developed through a cyclical 5-step process in which each step informs the next. We start the beginning of the cycle understanding the student's strengths, interests, present levels of performance. Then we specify disability-related needs. Our focus today is how to develop ambitious and achievable annual IEP goals. This step is underpinned by 2 beliefs. 1, high expectations. Goals are ambitious, achievable, and aligned with grade level standards. 2, collective responsibility. Goals are written collaboratively as an IEP team in order to include multiple perspectives. This chart clarifies the main purposes and linkages between the 5-step process. In sum, IEP goals must address why the student is not achieving grade-level academic standards or functional expectations, including why the student is having difficulty accessing, engaging, and making progress in the general education curriculum, instruction, or environment. Focusing on root causes should also limit the number of IEP goals to those really needed to address the student's disability-related needs. Each goal must be linked to at least one disability-related need. The U.S. Department of Education issued a Dear Colleague letter in November of 2015, which emphasized that IEP goals must be aligned with the academic content standards for the grade in which the student is enrolled, and they must be ambitious but achievable. For students with the most so-called significant cognitive disabilities, goals are aligned with alternate standards, which also align with grade level standards in Wisconsin. These are referred to as the essential elements. How do we decide what to include in the goal statements? Our purpose today is to practice analyzing and writing goal statements that include a skill or skills written in measurable terms. Remember that the skill or skills must align with on-grade level standards. Let's consider an example. Our focus learner is Arcadius. He is currently at the end of grade 2. He has an IEP eligibility of educational autism. One of his identified areas of need is to improve reading comprehension. His current IEP aligns with alternate standards or essential elements. So we will examine on-grade level standards related to reading comprehension first. Since it's the end of grade 2, we will align with standards that will be in place by the end of grade 3. The reading literature standards under key ideas and details alert us to a skill that we can write in measurable terms. Answer literal questions, who, what, where, with 90% accuracy. Is 90% accuracy reasonable for answering literal questions? What might a learning progression look like for reading comprehension in the reading literature strand of Common Core? To gain clarity around this learning progression for Arcadius, we can consult baseline data and see that Arcadius demonstrates low accuracy with answering who and where questions. His overall low but variable accuracy is reflected in data for its answers to what questions. We can see that in grade 3, students need to also answer when, why, and how questions. Given a year of specially designed instruction, we might reasonably set the ambitious goal of 90% accuracy with who, what, where questions. We can intensify text complexity throughout the year, and we can introduce and then fade prompts and supports like visual icons to represent the meaning of question words. Now, how might this be written into a measurable, meaningful, manageable, aligned, achievable, ambitious goal statement? I'm going to start with a time frame. By March of 2022, Arcadius will make progress toward, I'm going to use language from the essential elements, interpreting key ideas and details by, I'm going to name a specific skill, answering literal questions, that is, who, what, where, about grade 3 picture-supported passages in order to achieve 90% accuracy across 6 consecutive trials. Let's try another example. Crystal is at the end of her 7th grade school year. She has an IEP for an intellectual disability. One of the areas of identified need relates to word recognition. We might first want to use the Reading Foundational Skills Standards under Phonics and Fluency to support word recognition, but we'd soon run into a challenge because we need to align Crystal's IEP with grade 8 standards. There are no standards in the Reading Foundational Skills strand at grade 8. So should word recognition not really be an area of need? Is it okay to align with 4th or 5th grade standards even though she'll be in 8th grade? No and no. She needs to work on word recognition, and she can do this in a way that aligns with on-grade level standards. But how? We can exercise our alignment savvy by thinking about what matters most about word recognition. For a student in 8th grade, word recognition can be an instructional focus in conjunction with language development under the vocabulary acquisition and use strand of Common Core. That is, we can work with Crystal on using word analysis skills to recognize new vocabulary words. On the slide is the Ohio Extended Standards document. I will link this on Canvas. It aligns with the Wisconsin Essential Elements, but includes a breakdown of skill complexity. This breaks down the vocabulary acquisition and use standards by complexity, and we can look at the moderately complex version of the Language Standard 8.4, use sentence or paragraph level context to determine the meaning, along with our understanding of Crystal's present level of academic achievement to decide on a reasonable and ambitious skill that will be targeted in her IEP goal. In a measurable annual goal form, this might be written as, by March of 2022, Crystal will make progress toward vocabulary acquisition, that's the essential element, language strand 8.4, by using sentence-level context clues to state an accurate meaning of targeted words, e.g. unfamiliar words, multi-meaning words, and idiomatic expressions in 75% of opportunities. Let's try a third example together. CJ is in the middle of his 4th grade school year. He has an IEP for a primary disability of emotional disturbance. His primary needs are not academic in nature. Does this mean that we do not need to worry about on-grade level alignment? Nope. This means that we need to find a set of standards to help us set reasonable yet ambitious goals in the area of identified need. In this case, goals related to social emotional development can be found within Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction's social emotional learning competencies. This document can help guide our decision making. The complete list of social emotional learning competencies is available on the DPI website. When deciding on an ambitious and reasonable goal, it's helpful to examine baseline data and then read the skill progression across grade levels to gain a sense of the expected trajectory. So for CJ's goals, they were updating this in November of 2020. We could put the time stamp of by November of 2021. CJ will make progress toward, and I'm going to use language from those social emotional learning competencies, self-managing emotions by, and I'm going to list skills here, by reviewing a social story and role-playing to rehearse expected behaviors in order to complete lunch at a table with his peers for 15 minutes 3 of 5 days per week. So pause for a moment to examine the IEP goals that you are drafting for Maria. Are they measurable, meaningful, manageable, aligned to ambitious standards? Are they achievable? I offer a template as a way to begin practice goal writing. This template can let you know whether your goals have all of the required components. Each of the examples, 1 through 3 in this presentation, made use of this template. By month of the next year, the student will make progress toward using language from the standard. By, use verbs that represent skills, and then add a criterion to the end of the goal statement. I'm going to end this part 1 of the College Career Ready Culturally Responsive IEP writing video here.